Americans currently owe over $1.6 trillion in auto loans. That's trillion with a T. Most of the people carrying that debt have no idea how much it's actually costing them. Not just in monthly payments, but in the wealth they'll never get to build. My name is Kai Cash, and I spend way too much time thinking about the quiet decisions that keep smart, hardworking people broke. If you've ever wondered why your paycheck disappears every month, stick around. By the end of this video, you'll never look at a car payment the same way again. Subscribe if that sounds like something you need. They don't feel like debt.
A credit card balance feels like debt. A car payment feels like a bill. It's the only debt that's been completely rebranded as routine. Think of it like a slow leak in a tire. A blowout gets your attention immediately. A slow leak just quietly drains pressure, so gradually you barely notice. Until one day you're driving on a rim, wondering how you got there. A car payment is a slow leak on your net worth. It doesn't announce itself. It just drains a little pressure every month. The leak is way bigger than most people think. The salesperson doesn't ask what your budget is. They ask what monthly payment you're comfortable with. That single question changes everything about how your brain processes the decision. A $45,000 car sounds like a lot. A $600 payment sounds manageable. Your brain does the second calculation, not the first. Stretching the loan to 72 or 84 months just makes your brain stop doing the math. Once you're in payment thinking mode, upgrading feels harmless too. The payment would only go up by $50 a month. You just reset your payment clock back to zero, signed up for another 5 or 6 years on an asset that's already losing value. Leasing might be the cleverest version of this trap. Lower payments, a new car every few years, none of the long-term commitment. You're renting a depreciating asset. When the lease ends, you walk away with nothing. Just a folder of paperwork and the option to sign up for another one. It's the financial equivalent of paying a gym membership for years, never getting stronger, and starting over. Let's talk about that depreciation, because this is where it gets brutal. A new car loses roughly 20% of its value the second you drive it home. After 5 years, most cars have lost around 60% of their value. You're making payments on an asset that's actively shrinking in value. Imagine an investment guaranteed to be worth 40% less in 5 years. You'd never sign up for that. But swap investment for car, and millions of people do it every year. Here's the number that should make you sit up. Finance a $35,000 car instead of buying a reliable $15,000 used car with cash. That $20,000 difference grows to roughly $200,000 over 30 years. It's $200,000 in future wealth quietly erased by a decision that felt totally normal at the time. I made this exact mistake in my late 20s. I told myself I deserved a nicer car after a promotion. Didn't think twice about the $430 monthly payment. I ran the math on what that payment could have grown into instead. I felt genuinely sick about it. The car itself was fine. The opportunity cost was the real price tag. Nobody at the dealership was ever going to mention that part. Here's a before and after most people never think about. Before a car payment, a job opportunity in another city feels exciting. After, that same opportunity gets filtered through a stressful question. The car quietly narrows your options every month. Before the loan, losing your job would be stressful but survivable. After the loan, you're owing money on an asset worth less than what you owe. You can't just walk away from a car loan. You're locked in, whether your life goes according to plan or not. There's a third shift too, and it's the quietest one. Before the loan, a bad week at work is just a bad week. After the loan, that same week feels more dangerous. You start tolerating things at work you probably shouldn't.
That monthly payment narrows your sense of what risks you're allowed to take. Here's where people usually get defensive, so let me be clear. This isn't about never buying a car or riding a bicycle forever. You need reliable transportation, and there's nothing wrong with that. The mistake is financing a lifestyle upgrade and calling it a necessity. A 5-year-old sedan will get you to work exactly as reliably as a new one, for a fraction of the cost and none of the 6-year commitment. Next time a salesperson asks what payment you're comfortable with, ask yourself a different question instead. Not what can I afford monthly, but what is this costing me over 30 years? The version of you who drives the boring, paid-off car isn't missing out on anything, except a slow leak in their net worth. That version of you ends up with real freedom instead of a folder of paperwork. And that's the whole point of this channel, helping you make the quiet decisions that actually add up.